Lashbrook just informed me that you weren't getting any audio, which is true, Lashbrook. You were not getting any audio. Those of you watching the feed on YouTube later, the recording, you got audio, but those watching live did not. I had my mic muted, which I do before the show starts, and I forgot to unmute it. So I think I got distracted by suddenly the image behind me being bad. So sorry. Thank you to Harold. Thank you to Will for hosting the stream. Appreciate it very much. Got kind of a light crew here today. Hopefully, a few more folks show up. Want to watch me build some model kits. Working on our Double X Gundam today, and we'll be talking about all kinds of things. But I'm just waiting for a few minutes, see if anybody else joins us before we jump in. You can throw that Bear Cave emote in there if you're a subscriber. Let the people know what's up. And yeah, hopefully a few more folks will pop in and join us. But if not, that's okay. Always fine with doing a nice chill, relaxed stream for a few lovely folks. We're gonna do working on the Double X. We can go to the overhead shot there, waiting for a few more folks to pop in before we really get going. But we can do that, our overhead shot. If you haven't been watching, I got a new crane arm, and I've been playing around with it. On Thursday, I set up the way that I think I'm going to have it now, which is the way you see it here. It's currently attached to a tripod, so that it is not attached to the table. Because what I found was when I added my second monitor and added the stand for the two monitors, I put a lot more weight on my table, and now my table wobbles a little bit because there's a lot more weight on it. So if I have the camera overhead not attached, it's not going to be a problem. And then of course I got my camera right there. That's on me. That's a little peek behind the curtain. I've been talking about that, but yeah, we got the Double X. We've done a lot of work with Double X. We got the shoulders and the arms and the chest and the head done. The backpack part is done. We did our feet. We did our legs. Now we're doing armor on the legs, and then we will add that to our waist pretty shortly, and then add the elements on the sides of the waist. But we can get going on that. I was hoping we get it. Like I said, hoping we get a few more folks to pop in. But I understand. I do stream Saturday in the evenings, and people want to go out and see what's up out there. So I understand. I don't want to go out because it's cold and rainy here in New York. Those of you in this area, it's about 25 degrees colder than it was this day last year. So that is cold. That is unnecessarily, annoyingly cold. Hello, Mr. Bob, and welcome. Glad to have you here, Mr. Bob. Thanks for joining us today. So we're building, like we did with the arms. I can show off the arms. You can see in the overhead shot. The arms have the gold pieces there for the satellite cannons. We're also going to do that on the legs. I started off screen putting these on just to kind of warm my hands. I like to do the old warm up. But yeah, it was a nice chill day for me. But like I said, also chilly. It was the mid-50s today and rainy, which is pretty unusual for New York. Usually in New York, by the time we hit May, it's pretty much summer, and it's pretty warm. So I'm a bit annoyed by that. I would like to be wearing shorts. I would like to put my jacket away and maybe just have a hoodie for emergencies, not a hoodie for everyday needs. Missed one. E25. So now we're building, like I said, we're building the armor parts on the side, doing some layering work. We're putting on a thing that attaches, and then as the things open, these will pull out, basically, as they go. So we're working on that right now. Your spring festival got rained on. Oh, that's a shame, Mr. Bob. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's kind of a crummy weather for lots of folks, which is, annoying. All right, so as always, you know the drill, folks. When I'm working on this stuff, the first time is always slow, and when I work on the other leg, it moves way faster. All right, so we got to put this on the bottom. But yeah, a lot of this is like me guessing about how this goes, and then I feel a little better when it comes to the next part. Go like that. Yes, okay, so that goes in like that. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, and these will be connected by this piece going in here. You may have also realized I moved to a Harvest Moon town. Huh. Uh, yes, I think Harold is on the same cue. The idea of having a spring festival, a seasonal festival like that, feels very Harvest Moonish. Uh, all right, so we put this on together here. Goes on like that. Yeah, this piece is just, whoops, meant to help when it spreads out, those spread out. So you don't have to do it. And I assume, yes, the armor I'm going to put on over it is going to keep it all locked in together. So we can do that now by finding H. And yeah, we're putting our blue armor on the top. And then we're also going to put the leg joint in, and we will be almost completely done with this leg, which is cool. Making some progress on this kit. As mentioned, um, the next kit we'll work on is the heavy arms, which an anonymous follower, friend of the show, sent me. I did that in the my last mailbag video. So I have as always, if people send me stuff, it jumps the line. So that's the next thing we're gonna build is the heavy arms, and we'll slowly continue to work our way through all of Gundam Wing, basically. All right, so B17, B19, and B18. The usual Bs. I always say this, but it's good to remind myself. If you're working on anything, if you're doing any model kits, send it to my Twitter account. I always retweet. I love seeing what people are working on. It makes me very pleased to see what y'all are up to. So always feel free to send me stuff, and I'll always retweet it so that other people know what's up, what you're working on. But yeah, I love seeing the kits. Sometimes it's kits that I'm like, oh, I want to build that too, or I don't know what that is. Mr. Bob says that Gundam Wing High Grades were your first kits. Those were also my first kits. I did a lot of glue kits as a kid, like race cars and stuff. But my first real, like, from a show in Japan model kits, especially the plastic ones, were Gundam Wing because I really liked that show when it came out. Um, and the high grade, where I had asked someone, where should I start? I want to build model kits. And they were like, get the high grades. They're cheap enough that if you hate this, you won't have to do it. I had little scissors that from my kitchen because I didn't have snipper clips like these. I didn't have my clips. So I did, so I used uh, stuff from the kitchen and a little scissors from the kitchen and like just did my best to figure it all out and turned into a thing that's my huge hobby. Osbrook says, you never had high grades, you had the 100 no grades. Okay, yeah. Um, I definitely built a few of those in my day as well. I mean, you build whatever you can. You get your, you get whatever you're into, and you get whatever you can on it. And then, I started doing master grades because I liked the different sizes of it and the different shapes of it. Like, so the Death Scythe Hell, not the custom, Death Scythe Hell, if I remember correctly, is only available in high grade. One of the Death Scythes is only high grade. So, like, at some point, I'm probably going to get it because I want to have every Death Scythe. Because that's clearly what I need in my life is every single Death Scythe. Can't not have it. So, I think there's just a high grade of one of those. But I don't know. I tend to not buy high grades because they're not inexpensive, but also they don't take too long to build, and I don't think I get enough. streaming time out of them. They're fine in a pinch. I think it'd be good to have it on. But yeah, at some point I'll probably get that just to have. Let's see here. Okay, so we have mostly built our leg. We're now working on the ankle of so we can attach the foot. So we need E and F. E39, E41. All right. Got that there. E41. We'll do that one here. Great. Yeah, I mean, so that was Gundam was my first like model kit series, and then I branched out. I did I think I've shown or talked about on the stream that there was Cowboy Bebop had some model kits, and I built some of those back in the day. I was interested in that show. I love that show. So I built some of those, and I built a few other kits here and there, just as like random stuff that I would find. And of course, I had Transformers as a kid and Legos growing up. But yeah, once I got into Gundam, that was now a thing that I was really into. And then I stopped building for a very long time, as you do, and happy that I'm back into it. Let's see. Mr. Bob says I always had the call to go back to model trains, but I'm scared about how much space that needs. Oh yeah. I never really put together or ran model trains. At one point in our we inherited from some family member some models like a whole thing, and I remember like it just didn't really interest me. Maybe it's someday, but yeah, I don't really have the interest to go to you know go back to that. My dad was into it, but I was never super into it. All right, this goes like this. All right, all right. So now we can put this on our foot and our leg, and then we've got. All right. So there's our leg. One leg done. From there. I apologize. Hold on one second. I'm going to move a light here. See if that helps. I keep looking up and noticing that the green screen behind me is being a little weird. So I apologize for that. That's better. Okay. I moved a light. It must have bounced around a little bit. So I apologize for that. Yeah, okay, that's better. Is on the digital control nonsense. Oh, yeah, for that kind of stuff. Yeah, like I said, I've never been super into model trains, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. All right, so basically, we've done all we can with this leg. We are now moving on to the other leg and doing basically the same thing. So we're going to need B. Eventually, we're going to need F here. We did some of the steps already. So we go to the other I. We're going to need E. The E we already did here. Yeah, so we're going to need. We'll figure this out. But yeah, a lot of the same steps we already did, except we're doing on the other leg. I was hoping a few more folks would join us tonight, but I understand sometimes you're not just going to get a big crowd, and that's okay. But yeah, I'm happy you all are here joining me tonight as we do some model kit building. Continue to work on our Double X here from Gundam X, the least popular Gundam series, especially of its era. As I said, G Gundam was unique. It had a lot going for it. It was a really interesting idea to do like a different take on Gundam and make it almost a fighting series. Was unique, and people were really interested in that. And then Gundam Wing added in Pretty Boys, and that took it very far by doing that and making it about like young men, a series of them, and that kind of really, yeah, that really took off. And then Gundam X was this weird hybrid where it was its own story, but had all the new types and had a lot in common with the main series, and it just didn't feel different from the original. It was just like not the original. And then also it came out right after Wing, which felt revolutionary. But I think the Gundam designs are really solid. I really like the X and the Double X. It was just like bad timing. Yeah, yeah. It's a weird thing where yeah it wasn't enough for anyone. It wasn't strange enough and wasn't unique enough. But then it also wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't its own thing. But then it also was clearly its own universe, like on purpose. So it just didn't work. Didn't make any sense. So yeah, it makes sense why like they had to jump a bunch of episodes because it basically was going to get canceled, and they wanted to finish off the story, so they kind of rushed through the rest of the story, which is never a good thing. But I did enjoy it when I watched it. I mean, like I said, it took forever for it to actually get a U.S. release, years and years, which is surprising for a Gundam series, especially how popular Wing was. That they brought out X or G, I should say. They were like, oh, let's do this other one. That's weird. We'll do this. We'll do this one that's like a self-contained weird thing. Move my move the table a little bit here. There we go. That's better. Still getting used to this overhead camera and getting it placed where I want it. Um, like I said, it's just there's a lot of weight on the table now with the dual monitor setup that I have. It's making it a little harder to figure out where to put everything. All right, great. So we did that. Like I said, that came together way faster than the other one because I know what I'm doing. I want to see it's probably better. Yeah, Mr. Bob, I remember liking X. It's just not revolutionary like Wing was. It's not, or really weird like G is. Turn A was good. Turn A was enjoyable. I remember really liking it. Speaking of things that I went back to and found out that I liked, this weekend I binge watched all of the first season and the which is so it's like 24 or 26 episodes, and then maybe 24, and then the movie, which has some new footage and just retelling of um, Sword Art Online. I think I talked about this before, how I had never seen it, but of course knew of the genre of it and what became, of the genre. But I'd never seen the original, and I was interested in watching a little bit of it. And yeah, I kind of like it. Hey, Drew, we've just been building for a little bit. We were talking a little bit about Gundam X. Now I'm talking about some other anime I watched. Really didn't miss anything. Finished off a leg here. Could show that to you. But also welcome. But yeah, I've been watching all of Sword Art Online, the first season, and I would say I recommend the first 14 episodes. I think the first 14 episodes are really strong. And the second batch of episodes of the first arc, basically the second half of the first season, I don't think is that good. and yeah, I don't think as good as the rest of the show. Um, so, but I think like I said, I think I said this on Thursday. I didn't realize how quickly it got as dark as it gets. There's some real heavy stuff almost immediately in the show that kind of caught me off guard. And there are some characters I really like. Uh, you said the 3 of the 5 arcs of SAO are good. The other 2 are bad. One of them is real bad. So to me, the second half of the second half of the first season, which is like an introduction of a new game and the main character hunting for someone. I don't want to go too into details. My biggest problem with it is it felt rushed because it felt like instead of exploring this kind of cool world and like dealing with it, they didn't. And then the idea of uh, the fact that no one was trapped in that world took out the agency or the direness, and so it kind of like while he was racing the clock, it didn't feel um it didn't feel the same way as the uh as the first season, um or first part of the season, I should say. So I don't know. I didn't love it. Yeah, and then also like yes, there's some real problematic, really fucked up shit that happens, and then there's some weird stuff, and then there's this like there is a thing in Japanese anime, and I don't know if it's Japanese culture or if it's just become the culture of anime. I'm not an expert in this, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's okay in Japan or it's okay in Japanese anime for first cousins to marry, because there is a thing in a lot of anime where characters who believe themselves to be brother and sister find out they're actually cousins, and then it makes the feelings they've had for one another okay. And I don't know if that's like just the law and societal norm, and it's like, yeah, you can marry your first cousin, no problem. So congratulations, I'm glad you guys are first cousin. Or if it is still weird in regular society, and in anime it's okay. Like at some point, anime was just like, yeah, first cousins is fine. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for it. I just know that it's weird. Uh, yeah, it's strange. Um, it's also one of those things where I'm like, it's kind of fan serviy in that like this guy that was really good, and then like there's a moment where he's not really cool in the real world, and then like he gets a new game where he's overpowered and awesome, and I'm like, okay, you weren't that fan serviy uh, show. I mean, you were, but you weren't. I don't know. There's some real weird shit in that arc, and it also feels very rushed and doesn't feel like its own thing. It feels like they were like, we can't do the first arc in 13 episodes. Let's try to get 24, and then we'll just do 2 arcs in it. And now I'm like, the extra was kind of cool because it had some content that wasn't in the first part, and that's kind of fun. And then there's a weird thing happening now with what is it? Oh, uh, now we're in another game and it's with guns and there's a new character, and I'm like, meh. Uh, yes, Drew. They legitimately damseled a really awesome, capable character. A character who they spend so much time letting you know is pretty much the best. Um, and so that is very frustrating that she is damseled in the show. Um, you're not wrong at all, Drew, for being annoyed about that. Which is why I kind of like the Sword Art Online Extra, which is like basically a retelling it's like a movie. It's like 100 minutes or whatever. It's like retelling of the first season and what happened there, and then there's some bonus stuff at the end, and that's kind of fun because um, and lets one of the characters who was kind of shafted get a little more to do. So that's cool. I like that. All right. So that's going to be our legs here. Now we can attach. All right, we're going to pretty much attach everything together, which is awesome. All right, so we need E and G and H. E and E, H. All right, Drew says she does get her own arc later, and it's literally one of the best 8 or so episodes of the anime I've ever seen. So you have that for her. Well, that's good to know, Drew. It's good that she gets some stuff to do. Because I did wonder, because I've seen clips of Sword Art Online 2, which is the shooter arc, and I felt like they introduced a new character, and I was like, okay, so this is going to be him with a new character. I don't know. I kind of like the bar element. I think that's kind of a fun idea of like some of these survivors kind of having meetups and hangouts. Overall, I will say this. The biggest problem with doing an arc, kind of like a truncated arc, my biggest problem with the show is this. Okay, your brother, his mind and consciousness is trapped in a video game, and he's stuck there. And he's one of 10,000 people that are stuck like this, right? And people have died, and he's in there. And it's been about a year, and you're like, I got to see what these VR games are like. So you go into another VR game where you're not trapped and people haven't been trapped before. But while your brother, who you found out is actually your cousin, is trapped in this virtual reality prison, you're like, gotta see what that's about. That feels so false. Like the premise that you would take the risk that your mother would be like, well, your brother cousin did it and is trapped in a virtual prison, and we don't think he's, we hope he'll clear the game, but we have no reason to believe that he will. Sure, you can try this other video game out. I'm just like, nah. And then, after this dude was in this, like, electronic prison for 2 years, 2 full years, he's trapped in there, he's stuck, doesn't know what gets out of it, seemingly no problem with putting on a VR helmet. The same VR helmet that trapped him in a prison, he puts it back on. Because he's got to go save the woman that he loves. And I understand that part. And you got to, bulk up, man up or whatever bullshit you want to say. And go for it. But I'm just like, really? He's just cool with that? He just goes for it? It felt weird. Felt like you should spend some time. Yes, Mr. Bob. I agree. I don't think I would it's like, hey, VR games are sucking people's brains into the virtual world and they're stuck there. We're not a household that plays computer games anymore. Sorry. Let alone your brother's stuck in there. It just feels like such a strange thing. I don't know. But overall, I did enjoy the first. I actually I'm talking about it, and I might sound like I didn't enjoy it. But the first 14 episodes, I really did enjoy. I thought it was unique and cool, and some of the minor characters. The characters that they focus on who are not able to really handle it mentally, and kind of forget and kind of get caught up in the world. I think that's really interesting. There's a lot that I really liked about it overall. But then there's just a few things that seemed real wrong and really made me not like it. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out. I've got a piece here And then I clipped on there. And it goes like that. And it goes on here. Trying to just figure out how this piece locks in here. It says it just kind of does. And I'm not. Like that maybe? Sorry, folks. Take a second here as I try to figure out what's going on with this. Oh, it goes like that maybe? Huh. Be a lot faster on the other side. I think I figured it out. Okay. Anyway. Drew, I'm still waiting for more episodes of My Hero Academia. Okay, yeah, so it does do that. It's just how it comes out of there. Okay. I am still waiting for more episodes of My Hero because I really want to binge that. So I have not watched it yet, but I will soon. That's coming up. Uh, oh, um, you know, I do like to talk about when it's time to talk about it. Comic Girls is the only anime that I'm currently watching, every episode of as it airs. Today's episode, some of them have been like basically like two little episodes in one, or like each half like a mini arc. This one was like more focused. It was a Chaos Chan episode, which if you've been following along, she's the main character of the show, but is not my favorite character. I like a lot of the minor characters, but we did get to have some time with. So basically, the last episode they introduced a new character, another girl that does manga, that had been away, I guess, she's interesting. And then they kind of, in a very, I don't want to give it away or anything, in case you're going to watch it, in a very clever way, they introduced her into the opening of theme in the animation for this episode. I thought it was really fun, like because all of a sudden I was like, oh, there she is, she's in there. Um, so we get a little more fun with her, and it is a main character episode, which, as I said, not super into Chaos as the main character, because I think she's just so weird that I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on with her. Um, but it was a fun episode, so I was happy to watch it. And then there was some good stuff in there, good character development. Yeah, it's a fine show. It's not incredible, but I like it. Okay, so these are going to go on the side of our waist here, and we're going to. These are the holders, and I'll show now. I get to show the. So instead of a lightsaber style, these beam weapons, these beam sabers, their handles look pretty different. They're pretty unique. I think they look very cool. Uh, I'll put them together and then show them off. But yeah, I think these beam like the sheath basically, or the holders, the hilt. That's what I meant to say. The hilt. I was missing my words there. Are pretty cool. So we'll look at those once I'm done clipping them out. Drew says, I feel like I can count the number of series on one hand that I like, and the main character is also my favorite character. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of minor character stuff because I think they have the ability to have personalities that are playful and joyful, and you don't always get that if you also have to move the plot along. You know, I would say like, yeah, I'm often more drawn to the minor characters than the major ones. But it is a weird thing when you're watching a show that you like and you give the criticism that your favorite episodes are the ones that don't focus on the main character at all, that are like side story episodes. That's usually kind of weird. But that's how I felt. Okay, so these separate so that you can put them on the hand, uh, but they're meant to. The blade basically sticks out of here, and then they go into. They slide in. How do they slide in? Ah, they slide in and kind of live on the waist, which I think, like, when you're not using them, I think this looks super cool. You can put that there too. I think these just look like very nice. All right, so now let's put this thing together, and then we'll work on our weapons. But yeah, I usually like something to do with the character. It's rare for me to not like the main character totally and completely. Usually, if I don't like the main character at all, I stop watching the show because it's not going to get any more enjoyable if I'm like, nope. Okay. Great. And put the legs on. Put these on here. Our holders for our swords, our beam weapons. Oops, that popped out. I'm sure these will fall off constantly, is my guess, as we adjust this. And then now we're going to put final assembly. Going to stretch our arms out here. Oops, I knew that was going to come, so I'm not going to worry about putting that back on. And then there we go. Let's see. I am going to keep watching sword art online, even though now it's gun art online, basically. Because that looked cool, and there's some stuff that seems interesting about that. And there's, like, there's tie-ins to the other show that'll be interesting. So D11. Basically, there's a piece here, which I don't need, that if I had a stand, I would attach this to one of my stands and then attach that to the bottom. But we don't need that because, so we can put that in the box, because we don't have a stand. So we just put that away there. But yeah, all right, we are done with the main assembly of this. Pretty cool. I used blue tack a couple times on my guy and the loose parts. Yeah, I mean, it's not loose so much as it's that, like, I want these to be able to be removed so you can put them on and use them, or at least one of them. So I'm fine with these, like, popping off now and again. Now, if this actual piece was popping off, I might use a little bit of tack or glue. But right now, I'm okay with that. It's pretty sturdy as far as kits go. The G kits were a little annoying, so I'm glad that the X kit is good. Now we got the twin satellite cannons. We got to build. We got to build our cannons. We need A and E, and we're doing two parts at once. A, E, and G. So we'll grab the E's. We'll grab the G's. And we'll grab A. We just need the same one thing with A. But yeah, overall, excited to keep working on this kit. We'll take a break in a moment or two, and I'll talk about ways that you can help contribute to these streams. As mentioned, the next stream, the next kit we build is the Heavy Arms, the original version from Gundam Wing. I'm excited to work on that. Somebody sent that to me. I'm very excited about that. So that's next in the queue. Right. Which is awesome. But yeah, I'll put the Amazon wish list out and my Patreon and all that. I did a Q&A this weekend. I do a monthly Q&A for my Patreon that I don't post anywhere else. Talked about some stuff. Usually only get a couple questions here and there. But it's always fun to answer those questions. So I was happy to do that. Yeah. Things are good for the rest of May. May 28th, as I've mentioned before, May 28th is when I will be doing my bonus game stream. I do my monthly bonus game stream where I work on where I just play games. I put the model kits aside for one day and just play games with the with chat. We usually do a Jackbox games. So that's Monday, May 28th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be doing 2 hours of that before I go to work, and that'll be Memorial Day. So some folks might be off work. I am not, so I will be going to work later. But I will start my day by playing games with some people, and that'll be very fun. Um, I expect it to be real cool. All right, so G23, I need that. All right, we'll take that out there. Yeah, so that I'm looking forward to doing that and being able to hang out with people. That's the next big thing that's coming up. Not traveling in June, but July I'll be going to San Diego Comic Con. I got my plane ticket for that, know my hotel stuff for that. I just have to confirm a couple things with that, but it looks like everything's good on that end. Gonna have to figure out my streaming schedule. I'm gonna try to stream once when I'm out there. I don't know if I'll be able to, but my hope is that I'll be able to stream from San Diego one day. I'll be staying in a hotel, so that internet is not going to be good for streaming. But I have a couple friends in San Diego, and my hope is that I will be able to convince one of them that in like on an evening to let me stream from their place. And which would be very cool. So hopefully that'll all work out. But that's the plan right now. But that's also July. We got plenty of time for that. Let's see what else I want to say here. I'm also very excited for June 23rd, which is a Saturday night. It's a streaming night, but also is going to be that'll be my 38th birthday. So I'll be streaming on my birthday. I'm very excited about that, and I think I'm going to do a longer stream. I'm going to start. We'll probably make that like an early start time and a later time, and try to really bump up the numbers and celebrate my birthday with a bunch of friends here on the stream. That's the plan anyway. I got plenty of time to make that happen. But yeah, that's the goal is to is on the June 23rd is to stream a whole bunch to celebrate my birthday. Yep, it's going to be a good B-Day stream. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to do my normal build stream as I normally do, and then switch over and play some games after that. And it'll be like a bonus stream. Like stop the recording, start a new recording, and do that. That's what I'm thinking about as a way to have some good birthday times. Because I'm going to do like some friends stuff on that Friday, and then that Saturday stream. I think I'll be real good. That's the goal anyway. Let's see, 10 and 9. We'll complete this one part here, and then I'm going to take a break, pause for the cause, tell you about the different ways you can support the stream if you don't already. Just cool things that's coming up here, ways to support and all that. But we'll finish this piece here, and then we'll do that. Get a little sloppy there, and that goes like this. Oh, okay. Like that. Gotta put the weapon part here. These weapons aren't super intricate, even for a master grade. They're pretty, usually when you're dealing with a big gun, a lot of times there's a lot of moving parts to it. This does not have a lot of moving parts to it, which is helpful. It's got some layers to it, but it's nothing too dramatic, which is good. Yeah, basically it slides. That's its big trick. Thing here. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll take a brief moment here, just pause for the cause. We'll keep working on our weapons because we got another, 50 minutes or 40 minutes or so of the stream. But so I have a Patreon that you could support if that's something you'd be interested in doing. Here's the address of my Patreon. You could support me that way. $1, you get a monthly a Q&A that is just for Patreon. $5, you get all my videos in advance. Anything I make goes to those people in advance, and then $10 gets those videos in advance as well, and also gets to vote. I'm going to do the heavy arms next, but the next kit I do after that, I don't know what it's going to be. It'll be up for a vote. And just the way the Double X won that vote, something else will win. I've got an Amazon wish list. My next kit, the heavy arms, was bought off that wish list. You could buy stuff. I constantly update the wish list, so always be checking that out to see what I could build. I'm going to do a little bit of a push in June to kind of refill the coffers and get a bunch of kits ready, because I'm going to have to do some stuff off camera while I go away, because I'll be traveling in June and in August and in September, and I'll be home in October, and then I'm traveling in November. So I'm gonna miss a stream here and there, and have some video stuff as like a bonus. So I'm gonna have to refill the building materials, the kits, and then I've got my coffee, one-time donation. If that's something you'd like to do, you send me a few dollars that way. If you have Twitch Prime, you can link your Amazon Prime with Twitch, get you Twitch Prime. You should do that anyway if you have Amazon Prime, even though the money's going to go up, which sucks. I agree, it sucks. But if you have Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime, you don't see ads. You can turn your ad blocker off. You still don't see ads on Twitch. But anybody that was running ads, like a partner, would still get the money for that. It's a lot like YouTube Red, basically, or YouTube Professional, because they changed the name, whatever. But anyway, you also get a token if you have Twitch Prime, and you can use that token to support me or anybody. But or you could spend some money on Twitch, and you get a cool Bear Cave emote. And that information will also be in the show description on the YouTube video, because I archive every stream locally, put it on YouTube. The quality's a little better for some people. I'm doing a low latency right now. You may have noticed the stream quality might have suffered a little bit for that, but I really like the low latency. I like that I'm seeing your responses immediately, which is awesome. That's very cool of y'all. Also, if you use Twitch Prime, if you use your token, I forgot to mention that. You do have to renew it every month. It doesn't auto-renew, because I think they want you to spread the love, which is fine. But it's also awesome if you actually just keep supporting me, because I want to keep doing this. Anyway, we'll get back to that now. That's my big pitch. You've heard it before. You'll hear versions of it again as I continue to try to build this channel out. I got goals. I've talked about how I want to hit my goals on Patreon, and hit $150 a month on Patreon, which would allow me to stream 3 times a week. I would add a Monday afternoon stream every week. But right now I financially can't really afford to do that. But my kit numbers suddenly shot up a lot. That's something I could look into doing on my own. But yeah, we'll keep building here. Working on our weapons. Like I said, this is there's some layers to it, but it's not as intricate as some other kits have been that we've built on this stream. Other weapons. But yeah, if there's anything you want to talk about in this last half hour or so of the stream, feel free to jump in to the chat. Let me know what's up. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. Our numbers kind of increased a little bit here, but we've been living around, a little lower than I would love, but also happy to have everybody in here. Never upset about the people that are in the chat, because you are a cool chat. So yeah, if there's anything you want to talk about, feel free to hop in to the chat and let me know what's up. Um, I should say I don't talk enough about word of mouth. Um, Drew, Harold, thank you so much for subbing again, 4 months in a row. That's so nice of you. Thank you for that, Harold. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Uh, Drew, you said you finally reached the Dark Tournament arc in your Yu Yu Hakusho rewatch, and you're very excited. Hell yeah. The Dark Tournament, it's a great tournament. I think the Spirit World, the Hell Tournament, is not as good, but also it couldn't be. There's just no way that arc would have been good, I think, because I think everyone lost the plot and lost interest in that show towards the end. But this tournament is the characters you meet are so interesting and they're so creative and cool, and there's like so many minor characters that you wish were like would join the main story and would be more important because they're just so rad. uh, I really am a huge fan of uh, this story arc that you're now rewatching. um, Basically, at a certain point, like all series where the main characters and a bunch of other characters have to fight a bunch of bad guys, it turns into a tournament. Um, and there's some really cool character work in it. It's very fun. Uh, and I remember it. There's some parts that drag. There's some parts that are pretty slow, but overall, it's a very strong series that just keeps building and building. I have a lot of love for that show. All right, so we're gonna slide this on here. So let's slide on really easy. And this goes here. And then this goes like this. Oh, that goes on pretty easy. Okay, yeah, so now it slides along that. That's cool. And then I want to put E1 5 and E2 5. I think the key part of this team tournament instead of a single fighting tournament, so the side characters get a lot of good ones. Yes, I mean, my favorite Kuwabara moment happens in this arc. There's a whole bunch of stupid Kuwabara stuff that's good, that's very good and very bad. Um, and he has some good moments. But Kuwabara, who is a joke, kind of a jokish character with a good heart, has a really, really solid, funny moment in the show. But a lot of the characters have cool stuff. Like, I mean, Hiei just is incredible. Hiei just is already such a badass, and then becomes even more of a badass uh, in that show. It's kind of unbelievable. If anyone never watched Yu Yu Hakusho, but they did watch Hunter x Hunter, which I could say maybe there's might be somebody in there. It's the same creator. Yu Yu was the show that did first, and then later did Hunter x Hunter. But basically, uh, it is very similar. Of like four friends on some adventures, and then eventually it's like we got to get rid of one of these friends. They deal with the four friends stick around. The main crew stick around a lot longer. Um, but yeah, I always say like uh, Killua in Hunter x Hunter is what if his best friend, what if the main character's best friend was the murderer Hiei and not the goofball Kuwabara? Uh, Drew, I think Hunter x Hunter is great. I think watch the 2011. They redid it in 2011. There's some parts that aren't as bloody and some parts that aren't as gory, but I think it's a better retelling. Um, 2011 version is out there. It is a really good, strong show that I highly recommend. All right, so we finished most of our guns here. We're going to work on the satellite portion because a bunch of stuff happens on this X, and then suddenly he can shoot big, powerful weapons. So we got to build the pieces we need of those big, powerful weapons right now. So we're going to take those out there. We need G22. But yeah, Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite anime of all time. I would say the last arc, most of the last arc, is its own separate show. I've said this before in the stream, definitely, but the Chimera arc is kind of its own thing. It should be treated as its own thing, and isn't really in keeping with the rest of the show. It's good, but it almost feels like a different thing. It feels like the creator. It almost feels like the creator was like, I kind of have an idea for another thing. I'm just going to put it at the end of Hunter x Hunter because I'm done with the normal part of the show. And then at the very end of it, after that last arc, there's some like tie up to the whole series that's really important and good. But yeah, the Chimera arc is its own unique thing that is pretty different to the rest of the series. All right, so we put those on there. We're going to put those aside. Got to figure out how this works. We need J2. We haven't used J at all yet, but these are the inner pieces here of our of the satellite array part of this kit. It's where you get the X. You'll see it once we're done. It's kind of cool. I think it's actually like a really unique, interesting way of having a really super powered, charged, heavy duty weapon is to attach it to the back of it and have it spread out, collect solar radiation, and then use it as a weapon. I think it's pretty neat. All right, so we got to put that in there. All right. That goes in there. I was planning on rewatching Dragon Ball once I finished, but I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think Dragon Ball is a great show. I'm not gonna be here and tell you not to watch Dragon Ball. But if you haven't, sometimes after a rewatch, it's good to jump into something else. Maybe it's time, instead of watching a show you've already watched, you'd be interested in watching a show you haven't seen before. I'm not here to judge. I'm not judging. I'm just saying it. Yeah, it might be cool to try a show you haven't seen before. Mix it up. All right, so I got to put J2 in here. Yeah, I mean, like, I've been trying to watch some old stuff that I've never seen, and by old I mean mid-2000s. There's a gap where there was a lot of anime that I didn't watch in the late to mid-2000s, so like stuff that came out 10 years ago, which is why I've been watching Kaze no Stigma, because I remember it was coming out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and then I didn't watch it. And now I'm watching it, and it's fine. I think might be done with it. I think I got what I wanted out of it. I'm not really interested in where it goes per se, but it's kind of cool to check it out because it's a show that I've been meaning to watch. All right, so that goes in like that. So we did those two. We got those pieces done. We're just building all our pieces here at once. G21 and all right, so this G21 is here. Okay. Nozaki-kun. I'm gonna Munan, I don't know if I've seen that. I'm actually going to look it up because I'm actually sometimes I realize like, oh, I watched that show and I just didn't know the name of it. Um, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, 4-panel recto web comic. It's a romantic comedy. Ongoing Japanese 4-panel serialized and Gundam Online. Anime version began airing in 2014. Host confessed him for fan gives autograph. Huh. Okay. Oh, that sounds fun. Uh, huh. I've never seen that, but that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna save that in there. Really good comedy, sweet, somewhat recent. Yeah, that seems the 2000s, early 2000s. Uh, for 2014, I should say. I have not seen that show. That looks kind of cool. I do like series about manga artists. That is a fun thing, and secrets and all that. And didn't seem to immediately be about dirty comics, which is great. So I'm not interested in that at the moment. I'll say. There's a lot of that has been coming out lately, but like, oh, this is a chaste person that draws gross comics. They're not gross, but adult comics. Here's a comedy series about that. It's like, okay, I don't need that. I'm sure it's fine. And maybe someday I'll be super into that show, but no thanks. Okay. But yeah, I appreciate the Mudan. I appreciate you sending that. That's very nice of you. Thank you. It's always nice to see, to give an idea of something I might want to check out. All right. And okay. We're going to continue to assemble the satellite cannon. Basically, satellite dish is on his equipment, which is a weird thing to say, but is what part of the deal is for this character. Or this kit, I should say, is that there's a whole, like, array to get energy, which is pretty neat and is cool in the show. The Double X is the second version of the X. It is a rebuilt of the original Gundam from the show. Like it's built later. What's going on here? I have to take a moment to answer this text. I apologize. I'm getting a text from work. Farthest right shelf under desk. To sorry, this is work related, so I apologize. Devices, earbud, or neck attachment. Anything, turn it on. Anything sent. Sorry, this is shitty right now, and I apologize, but this is an important part of my job and a thing that I shouldn't be having to do right now, but I'm doing. The hold on. I have to look up a video. I apologize. All right, I'm going to end the stream. I'm sorry. I have to deal with a work related thing. Uh, uh, I'll pick this back up on Thursday, but I have this is going to take a while. So I apologize.